Okay, we're going to show you how to make a Malibu step by step. The very first process, let's apply the colours. So everything you see in here that's green is actually the mould surface itself. We back mask off the different panels, which will leave just the bottom exposed, goes into the spray booth, and we spray that base coat first. Typically most people choose white. Then we'll peel off a layer, apply the first colour, peel off the next layer and apply the last colour. So the very first process in the building of your boat is the application of the colours, which is known as gel coat. Okay, the next step after having the colours applied is to actually get the fiberglass into the moulds. So we wheel them up onto this lamination area here, and we're going to start with chopped strand fiberglass, which is what's being prepared on the boom there. It actually looks like baling twine. Now the little apparatus on the end there is called a chopper gun. When we pull the trigger, it's going to chop that into bits and spray it, hopefully, mainly on the boat. And we're going to roll out all the air, and that'll give us our first skin. Okay, once we've got all our chopped strand skin in, then we're going to go with our second lamination, which will be a little bit more chopped strand, but then these guys here. This is called double bias fiberglass. This is woven roving. It's quite expensive, it's time consuming to get in there, but it's very, very strong, and it's going to give us a much, much stronger, stiffer and lighter boat. Okay, so now we've actually got our hull laminated. This is one we prepared earlier. Now we're going to put in our stringer system. So rather than using wood, we've eliminated all of that so there's no rod anymore. These are hand laminated fiberglass stringers which form a chassis which we're going to bond into the hull, and then we're going to put our fiberglass composite floor on top of that, and it's all synthetic, lasts forever. Alright, so now we've put our stringers in, we've put the floor in, we've put the expandable urethane foam underneath the floor. Once that all went hard, we've popped it out the mould. So we've already got our colours on because they went on first, and you can see now the structure of the boat, as we said just a minute ago, it's all fiberglass. You can see our stringer system in there, it's all ready to go next door for carpeting. Okay, so next step again, now we're into assembly where we've got two parts that, as you can clearly see, are still separate. So the deck actually comes in upside down, and what we're going to do here is run all the wiring looms and all the bits and pieces and fit them actually to the deck before it goes on the hull. And then the hull, we're actually going to carpet the hull before the lid goes on. So it's just like the one we looked at on a different model. You can see it's a bit smaller. So we're going to carpet this boat before we actually put the top on, and it'll allow the boys to get a nice neat job all the way up the sides. And once they've both gone basically as far as they can, we're going to join the two together, calling what's called a shoebox fit. So the deck will actually sleeve over the top of this part here, just like a lid goes on a shoebox. Okay, so now once we've carpeted and done the wiring, as we just explained, we're going to join the boat, and this is one that has been joined now. So we've hidden that join with the gunnel rail, and that's actually going to get a stainless steel fitting over the top of that. But you can see once the boat's joined now, and inside all these areas, they've come down and met the floor, and that's all fiberglass together, so that our hull, our stringers, our floor, and now our deck have all become one piece. Alright, so the next step after the assembly process is to put the boat into rigging, to actually rotate the boat upside down so we can fit all the underwater gear. So once we move into the rigging department now, we've seen the boat rolled over, we're lofting all the underwater gear. Now it's put on very precisely using a chalk line, very important to get that stuff perfectly straight. And then we're going to roll it back up the other way and actually start to fit everything in the boat that makes it go. All the wiring, of course, is supplied from the assembly department. And here we put in the engine, steering, fuel tanks, ballast, dashboards, everything that makes the boat go. Once these guys are finished in rigging, you could actually go skiing with it. Okay, so sticking with that no wood theory, we're going to use about 6 different types of synthetic panels to actually build the interior of your boat. There's no point in us making the boat last forever if your interior falls to bits. Most of the boat's made out of high density polyethylene plastic. That's a 10mm, that's a 6mm. We've actually got a 20mm plastic there that we use. There's ABS plastic. There's actually some aluminium honeycomb used, and even some spaceboard, which is the same product that we make the floor out of. So lots of different panels, and they're all impervious to water. They don't rot, they don't crack, so they don't fall to bits. So rather than using a jigsaw, which would take a fair while, we actually cut all those panels on a CNC machine. It's a great machine because it doesn't take sick days, but it also always cuts on the right side of the line. So we'll put the correct program in here, and the correct panel up there, we can go off and do something else in the CNC machine, which stands for computerized numerical cutting, in case you didn't know. We'll cut all the parts out and then we can move on to the next step. So the next step after all the cutting is to put the pieces together and actually make all these different components. And as you can see, they're starting to look a little bit like seats and side pockets, etc. And here they'll get 14 different densities and thickness of the foam. You wouldn't put 3 inches of foam on a matte pocket, for example. So lots of different layers, different thicknesses. The grey foam's quite firm and the green foam's quite soft. So you get that nice pillow top, and when you sit on the cushion it's nice and soft, but you never sink all the way down onto the seat frame. So you can see here that it's all a bit hibbity-piggity, but all the different thicknesses and densities of foam are put in lots of different layers to give us the different profiles of the interior. All these parts are sitting up here stacked, ready for the skins to go on. All the vinyl's cut on this table behind me. There's about 6 different styles of sewing machine to generate all these different stitches. Most of the sewing in a Malibu is actually exposed, which gives it that really rich lounge suite type look. And you can see the skin to actually have an extra layer of foam laminated on the back. So there's our plastic part that we built next door, put all the foam on it, now the skin goes on, starting to look like a boat seat. So there's our finished product. There's the polyethylene that we cut down on the CNC machine. You know now there's 2 and 3 layers of foam underneath there. Skin's been applied, and then underneath there we put that nice hide and bide tape on there, gives you a nice neat job. Once the boat's moved up from rigging, it'll now end up in interior install, so all the parts that we've just made in the trim department will get fitted in this department here. And once we've got about 90% of the interior fitted, then we'll take it off the production line and out to Lake Hume for a boat test. So now we've reached the end of interior install where it's been out for its water test, and once you take them out to Lake Hume, it's just a fundamental part of building boats. You want to make sure they don't leak at least. Put them in the water, drive them around, make sure they turn left when you go left, make sure the engine runs properly. All the Malibu engines are now EFI standard, so we don't have to tune them anymore, but you want to make sure that they function correctly, and everything that the customer ordered has indeed been fitted and it also functions. So the very last part of the process is the final inspection, which takes about an hour to go over the whole boat. This one's just passed. Its next step then is to get shrink wrapped on the trailer, on the truck, sent off to a dealer, where they'll unwrap it, do a whole pre-delivery, and then deliver it, hopefully, to a very happy new Malibu customer. Well, in the rare case that our happy customer is unhappy because he's broken something, we now have this full purpose-built warehouse. All the parts in here are for not only building the boat, but most importantly, customer service. Doesn't matter what you break, we've got hundreds of them in here. Well, there you have it, all our secrets revealed. As you can see, there's many different intricate steps to building a Malibu. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.